I'm going to give it a few minutes for a few people to get on. What we've got on there, 5 so far. I'm going to try. I'm also going to try and get it up on the laptop so that I can read comments, questions as they come in. But this is the first time I've done it, and I don't quite know exactly what I'm doing. Never let that be said before. So how is everybody doing, by the way? Happy New Year to everybody so far. If you haven't watched any videos so far this time round. I've got a little bit of a script. Is it a script? Not really. It's just a little bit of how things are going to go so far and what I've got planned to run through some bits and bobs. So as soon as we get into, we're already into double digits, that's fairly good then. What we will do, in fact, before we kick off with anything else, I want everybody to wish Steve from SJ Pest Control a very happy birthday. Today is Steve's 50th birthday, the big 50. So you may already be a subscriber of SJ Pest Control. So I want everybody to wish Steve a very happy 50th birthday today. So if you're not a subscriber of Steve's channel, please pop over and subscribe to SJ Pest Control. I was very lucky enough to be invited by those guys to an awesome rat shoot. When was that? That was right before lockdown last year. Christ, we've already been in lockdown for getting on for the best part of a year. But I was very lucky to be invited over there last year. We shot well in excess of 100 rats that night. An epic video, I think you will agree. So yeah, well, happy birthday to Steve. I'm not going to sing because my singing voice is even more terrible than my usual draconian voice. Right, let's have a look at some comments. I can't get it up on the laptop. I can't get it up. Probably has happened once before. What's the audio quality like? Give me a thumbs up if the audio quality is good. I've actually got a new lavalier microphone, it's called. What is it? I've bought it just for this occasion. It's the lavalier BYM1 off of Amazon, and we've got a few thumbs up, so the audio's good. 17 quid bargain. Ordered it last night, turned up today. What a result. Right, can I get the questions up on here, or am I going to have to keep leaning forward and looking at the screen? Oh, here we are.
My team uses Monday.com to manage.
Turn the sound down. An advert on a live feed. What on earth's going on? What on earth is going on? Ah, right. Right, let's have a look then at some of these comments so far. So, Ewan McDonald, I think you were first on. Hello. Simon G. Joanne Reynolds, hi. Hi, Joanne. She's only in the other room. Simon G. Stevie W34. Wash Wildfowler Field Sports. Ah, hello Dwayne. There's another channel that everybody should go over and subscribe to. Myself and Dwayne have been out several times. We only started knocking about with each other. How long ago was it? It seems like forever, but do you know what? We've only been friends for a few months really, but we've already had some epic adventures and we've got some great stuff in the pipeline. But Dwayne's also got some really good content on his channel, and it's getting better and better and better as well. So he's been investing heavily in some equipment. So go over and check out Wash Wildfowler Field Sports channel, please, everybody. Hi to Luke, Wolverine Vermin Shooting. Again, another cracking channel. If you're really into your rat shooting, Wolverine Vermin Shooting, guys, is on point. Top quality stuff. Kazzy, hello, mate. Blimey, we've got a lot of people on. Who else? Michael Lee. Right. Looking forward to the ATM Mars footage from Darren. Yeah, do you know what? I had to update that earlier. God, what a pain in the arse. I've been testing a few different bits and bobs. So I got sent this scope, mate. You may have seen the NVS30 version on, whose channel was it on? Andy's Range, beg pardon. So yeah, Andy's Range did a review on the NVS30 model, and Scopemate have sent me the NVS20 model, so they're very similar. One's just got a slightly bigger screen, and I went out to do a wrap job and took that with me because I thought if I get a chance to, I'll probably use it. The rat shooting really wasn't that great. Again, you'll probably see this in an upcoming video. So I switched over to this with the Ruger 1022 and did some rabbit shooting with that. So that was good fun. So, but yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit about what I've got coming up very soon. That's not very nice, Joe. SJ Pest Control's on. Hi, Darren. Hi, Darren Lottie. Brian, the bearded air gunner. Cool. Right then. What's my opinion on young shooters? I don't really have an opinion on it. I mean, young shooters are vital, really. Look, I guess most of us were young shooters at one point or another. When did I start? Okay, right. I think we've reached a point where I'll keep saying hello to people and please keep giving me some shout outs. But what I will do, the video format, the way I envisaged this working was essentially I get questions all the time, both on email, on Instagram, and certainly a lot on YouTube. So I thought what I'd do is I'd do one of these live events, having never done one before. It'd be a great way for me to interact with the audience, but I could also probably answer some of the questions that come up frequently or quite often. And then if there is something that you've got burning that you would like to ask, then please ask away. If I don't see it on screen and I don't have time, I envisage it's taking about half an hour. But if we run out of time or I don't get to answer everybody's questions on the comments, once the video is uploaded, I'll go back through that and I'll try and answer as many of them as I can, if that's okay with you guys. So what's coming up on the channel in the immediate pipeline? Well, yes, as you've rightly said, I have a Mars 4 ATN thermal scope. So I've looked through it. The eyepiece is really clear, and so this model, just so you know what we're dealing with, this is the Mars 4 4.5 to 18 times mag. So it's high resolution, and what did I get it for? Well, I guess I really wanted to do some thermal rabbiting. And I may in the next few weeks also put it on the 223 as well. Although I have just got a new scope to go on the 223. I've got a Hawk Frontier. This is the 4x24x50, and it's also got the LR dot reticle. So if you can see that on there, I don't think it'll focus that close. It's a really smart reticle. That I saw it at the shooting show a couple of years ago, and that tiny little dot I just thought was a perfect kind of foxing reticle. So I'm really keen to give this a try. One of the other main reasons for swapping is very simply this has got a 24 times mag, and the scope I've been using now on a 223 for a good number of years only goes up to 16 times. Recently I've had more foxes, probably over 200 yards than at any other point. So only having 16 times mag, excuse me, I just need to wet my whistle. Only having a 16 times... Hello, you?
Hi.
We're live. We are live on YouTube. Do not swear. Hello, everybody. Look, this is Emma. Say hi.
Hi.
What do you think to Dad's videos while you're here?
They're okay.
They're just okay. Ah, okay. What could be better about them? How can I make them better?
You need to have pink march.
I need to have pink. Okay, that'll do.
Ow, I'm trying to get a drink.
You get a drink. So yeah, it's the mag essentially. That's the main reason I'm changing it for lockdown, eh? Got your drink, good. Okay, so that's what's coming up. So I'll be changing the scope over on the 223. I've got the Mars thermal scope to do both a decent review with and get out with it. I definitely want to do some rabbit shooting with it, and I also really would like to try it on the 223. Maybe even get it on the air rifle for some rabbiting. So we've got a 100% thermal ratting session potentially to be had there as well. And as I said, I've also got the scope mate as well. I have been out with that already and filmed a little bit of footage with that, so that will be coming up in the not too distant future as well. I'm also set as well to shoot my new squirrel feeder. So over the last few weeks I've been feeding up, in fact it's not weeks now, it's actually a couple of months I think I started feeding this up and put it in situ very early December I think it was. So I've got a new squirrel feeder in a brand new wood, well it's the same squirrel feeder sorry, but it's in a brand new wood, brand new location, quite a decent location, and I shall be filming there. Now, this is another reason why I wanted to kind of pose this in a live format. What do you guys think on actually shooting the squirrel feeder next with a different air rifle? So again, in my head, what I'd like to do is to be able to shoot on a budget, so a budget air gun. One of the best budget PCPs, in my opinion, on the market is the Air Arms S200. Sub 12 foot-pound. You can pick them up. So far the cheapest place I've found is about 460 quid. So I was thinking about getting one of those, doing a budget air gunning video, and then even maybe raffling that rifle off once we finish making the content with it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and again I'll have a read through those in a bit and we will see what your guys' thoughts are on that. What else? Okay, I'll have a look through some of the questions. I'll briefly answer some of those and then I'll go through some of the most common questions that come up. So, let's have a little look back through. How are you? I'm very well, thank you, Darren. I have had COVID, believe it or not. I started this year, early this year, 3rd of January. I felt like absolute crap. She told me I had man flu, and I put it down to that really. I didn't have all of the symptoms that everybody keeps hearing about. So I didn't lose my sense of taste, didn't lose my sense of smell. I did have a banging headache and it hurt to move my eyes around. And I had the cold shakes and stuff as well. So I just felt generally pretty crap for about 5 or 6 days. But then when she started getting ill as well and she started coughing and stuff, we thought, oh, we better get a test. So we did a test. Sure enough, we were both COVID positive. So we've done our isolation period now. So we now can go shopping, and thank goodness that everyone was okay. So, yeah. What do you use to receive or record your footage? Well, I use several things really. The main camcorder I use is the Sony AX53. That camcorder is an incredibly good camcorder. It's got its own gimbal. I think it retails, it's about 3 or 4 years old now, the model, but it's still a current selling model, and it retails for around the £700 mark. But it's also a very good camcorder in zero light conditions, providing you put an extra IR on top. So that's what I use. I also use a couple of GoPros. I've got the GoPro Hero 7 and a GoPro Hero Plus. And then I also use my phone for quite a lot of videoing as well. I'm using my phone right now to record this. But the rear-facing camera on the iPhone XS Max, which it is incredibly good for close-up work. So if you've ever seen any of the videos I've done of the torch reviews and stuff like that, then what you will, mostly all of those have been recorded using my phone. I then put that footage onto my MacBook Pro. There I am, so I can answer the questions, etc. I put that onto my MacBook Pro and edit it using the iMovie editing suite that's built into the Mac. So that's what I use to record. How do I get rid of my rats? that's a question that does come up quite a lot, actually. So I'm very fortunate that I live a stone's throw away from a large farm with a big incinerator. So nearly all the foxes, especially if I've shot them locally, and the rats will go in that incinerator. If I've only got a few, then I will probably dig a hole and bury them on site. And others I chuck them in a ditch and let nature take its course. Simple as that, really. Let's go down a minute. I've just seen a question about night sight. Would I sell, or will I sell the night sight and use the scope mate instead? I've only been out with it once, and I'm actually going out foxing after this, and I'm taking a night sight, so probably not. It's good, don't get me wrong. I mean, again, I'll do a more in-depth review on it, but for 250 quid, it's a really good, it's a perfect cross. In fact, let's have a look at it. It's a perfect cross, really, between a pard and a night sight. Well, it's almost a perfect cross, so it needs some tweaking. So this is the NVS20 from Scope Mate. As you can see, it looks just like a pard. If you've ever seen a pard 007, you've got the camera unit here, which clicks on the back of the scope and then twists it, sort of locks into position. Your battery housing here. You've got a pretty powerful IR. I mean, I was IDing rabbits 80 plus yards with a built-in IR, which I thought was quite good the other night. And then the buttons are actually pretty good on the back. What's good about this unit, I do know one good feature of it is you can actually play back. So you can play back on the little screen. So this one here, the Scope Mate 20, has got a little, I don't know what that is, probably about, about a 2-inch screen maybe. Yeah. But yeah, it's all right. It's not quite the same quality as the pard, and it's not quite the same quality as the night sights, but it is a pretty good bit of kit for the money. The mounting thing is better than the pard, because this is a bit like the Eagle Vision kits. I don't know if any of you use those or have seen those. I use one on the night sight and it's phenomenal. But the Eagle Vision kits, they do some wicked scope mounts for the night sight and for other bits and bobs as well. And they make them for pard, incidentally. But yeah, so this is kind of the same. You get two different size collars and it twists up. So again, I'll do a more detailed video on that, but no, I don't think I will be swapping my night sight for that. Going forward, more longer term, I'm probably going to be either using an ATN 4K Pro scope, night day scope, an ATN thermal scope or something very similar. But for the immediate up and coming future, I'm going to switch the scope over to the Frontier, and I'm going to use that and probably record from the pard. Ultimately, what my aim is to provide the best quality footage. The night sight's good, don't get me wrong, but it's just getting that bit older now. You know, it's how long have I had it? Well, I've had it since it launched, I think, in 2016. So it's now a good few years old, and Christ, it's accounted for so much stuff, you know, countless foxes and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of rats. So it's really done itself proud, and it's still working okay, but I just think it just doesn't have the edge. I mean, if some of you have seen some of the more modern rat shooting videos that I've done, you'll see the quality of that ATN scope is superb. I've just not seen anything yet that betters it, so I'd love to go down that road. Money's a bit of an issue. I know looking at all this stuff you'd think that I was loaded, but the truth of the matter is the Scope Mate, that was sent to me for free. The scope, believe it or not, that was bought for me by the farmers recently. Two of them pitched in together and wanted to treat me for the good work I've done. And then the ATN scope has been sent to me for loan by ATN Europe. So I've not spent my own money on any of that. So, you know, that's a very fortunate place to be in, I suppose. And look, most of that is really a big thanks to you guys as well. You know, watch the videos, support the channel, and that's opened up some doors for me over this last 2 years. So I will take this opportunity to say thank you very much for that, because without you guys supporting and following the channel, that stuff wouldn't have happened. So thank you very much. Right, what else have we got? How is the ammunition availability? That's a good question. over here. So I'm assuming Old School. This is from somebody called Old School. I'm assuming you're probably in the States. Pretty much most of the ammunition I think we use here in the UK comes from the States. And when COVID kicked off, you buggers bought them all. So it was really difficult to get hold of ammunition here in the UK during the first lockdown. It's got better. And when I was made redundant in September last year, I had a bit of redundancy money, so I stockpiled a shed load of stuff, so I don't think I'll need to be buying ammo for the next year. Unless we go mental with the shooting, that is. Hi Dave, Aaron FX. Give Aaron Cantrell a shout out. He's a lovely fellow with a brilliant, honest airgun reviews. There you go. Can I give a shout out to D&M Pest Control in North Wales? Yes, I can. Big shout out to you guys. What's your view on airgun licensing if it comes into England like it in Scotland? That's a great question. This might be a little contentious, but do you know what? I'm all for it. I know that when I was a young lad, I pigged around quite a lot with an airgun, and I think if we have licensing here in the UK, it'll be a good thing. Yeah, I'm all for it. I think licensing airguns will be good. It's as simple as that, really. Yeah, I think it will just stop. It'll stop a lot of unnecessary kids pigging about with it, or pigging about with them, should I say? So yeah, I'm all for it personally. And you know what? I actually changed my standard Air Arms S510 to the FAC one, foreseeing that eventually we probably would follow Scotland and license airguns. And I didn't want to be in that awkward position like they were in Scotland, where all of a sudden there are loads of people that fall foul of the law. I wanted to kind of be a bit more proactive and already have a licence to have an FAC airgun in place for it. And as I've previously mentioned, if you've been watching from the start, I'm probably going to get another sub 12 foot pounder anyway, which, as we know, we don't need a licence for if you're over the age of 18 currently in the UK to purchase. So and if I have to then move that onto an FAC licence, then so be it. Yeah, it's a pain in the arse having to pay a little bit of money. Let's face it, even though the prices have gone up, the pricing of our licensing system, I feel, is really very fair, and I don't think it's too much. I don't think it's too much money either. And that's coming from somebody that's unemployed as well. How do I deal with the public when shooting? As one of my permissions has 580 acres, has a lot of public bridleways, and I'm cautious when shooting as I try not to upset passers-by. Should I be concerned then? Or I take it you mean, should I be concerned about them? It's another great question. I used to shoot. Well, in fact, I still do have the permission, but I haven't been there for quite some time. So I used to shoot. It's a bit like a garden centre come petting zoo type thing, and it's quite near a busy road, and I often used to get asked or even shouted at by the public, and I guess a couple of things really. One, if you're courteous, so I can only really speak from my own examples here, but what I would always do is kind of put my rifle down, walk over and ask if they had a problem, did they have a problem with what I was doing, and so on and so forth, and probably just educate them. And do you know what? Nearly always, there may always be that one idiot, but nearly always they were quite happy once they'd had a good explanation as to why I was shooting rabbits. I think it was quite obvious where I was, why I was shooting the rabbits. Anyway, having said that, they're always going to get that one dickhead, if you like, who is just not open to reason. So don't worry about it. You're never going to change a dickhead's mind. You'll wake up tomorrow, still be you. They'll wake up tomorrow and they'll still be a dickhead. But yeah, be courteous. give a good explanation. If you are shooting near public bridleways, it's probably a good idea to put some signs out. I've got some laminated signs that if I'm pigeon shooting and so on, then I'll probably put them on the bridle path, and I also put one in the truck window as well, so people know what I'm doing. That has backfired before because I have then had the truck vandalised once while I was shooting, but luckily that did only happen the once. So that's how I would deal with that. Cocker Spaniel, hi mate, how's it going? What are my thoughts on a refurbished ATN? Are they worth the investment, or should I buy a new one outright? I guess. What are my thoughts on reconditioned stuff? I have had some reconditioned stuff in the past. I can't remember what, but my thoughts on it. Well, look, I guess it really depends on how deep your pockets are. I think with rifles, I'd always buy new, because you just simply never know how many rounds they've had through it. I mean, I'm sure you've all been into gun shops and you've been speaking to someone behind the counter and they go, "Oh, this is a cracker. It's only had a box through it." They've all just had a box through them, haven't they? Rifle-wise, I'd buy it brand new. Scope-wise, I don't think I'd necessarily have an issue with a reconditioned one, providing it had been done by the supply, by ATN. I think that would be pretty cool. I've just seen Kevin's name pop up on my phone there, so hi to Kevin Marsh in Guernsey. Is the Guernsey branch of Team Foxer there? How do you dispose of rats? We've done that one. Hi Rob, do you ever get around to buying a 243? I remember you mentioned it in a previous video. Cocker Spaniel. Hi, so this question is, did I ever get around to buying the 243? Because I'd mentioned it in a previous video. No, I didn't. What happened and I'm sure this is no different in any other county. So I'm in Lincolnshire. It's a fairly large county here in the UK, and I applied for a 243 and got the grant for it, no problem. However, then what happened is I ended up doing a lot of DIY at home. In fact, I think we actually got the kitchen done at the time, and we'd spent way more than the budget on it. So I simply just couldn't afford it. And then I bought the air rifle. So when I applied for the FAC air rifle and they changed my ticket over, because I'd not purchased it within a time frame of, I think at the time it was about 24 months, he said, I need to take it off. If I wanted it back again, I could reapply and that wouldn't be a problem. But they took it off. So no, I haven't. I haven't necessarily really, I don't think, got a need at the minute for a 243. At the time I did, because we were clearing some roe deer off of a farm locally, but the keeper's 243 was fine for that job. But it was when I wanted to go out on my own and do it, and that's why I kind of wanted one. As it is, dare I say it, with the exception of probably a cheaper air rifle, and please don't tell the missus this, hopefully she's tuned off by now and got bored. I don't really need any more guns at the moment. I think I've got enough. I think I've got all the bases covered. I've got side-by-side shotgun, which never gets used. I just love the look of it. I've got my Winchester SX3, brilliant semi-auto shotgun. That my Beretta Silver Pigeon. What else we got? FAC air rifle, the 22LR. Love that gun. 17 HMR, the newer Lithgow or Lithgow, as I pronounce it. I keep getting told off for that because I pronounce it wrong, but I'm going to say Lithgow. What? She's just shouted, how many? I think I'll stop talking about how many guns I've got. Hey, Mr. Wortley, looking as sexy as ever. What's that emoji face? Grey lad. Good to hear I'm all better. Thank you, mate. There's some Russian guy on here. Dia Doom, would you like me to say hi to you, because you keep popping up with a load of crap here? Dia Doom, whatever. Someone kick him off. Man flu is COVID, and no one knew. So I did, yeah. Yeah, to be fair, I think I got away lightly. I do. A friend of mine, in fact, has only just come out of hospital after 11 days, and he was really quite poorly with it. So I'm really chuffed he's okay. Any pigeon shooting videos coming soon, Jack? I hope so, mate. Yeah, I'm actually planning a session the day after tomorrow because we've been attending to gas guns. Flags have gone out, but we've got large patches of oilseed rape that's gone in, and it's getting a hammering at the moment. So, in an effort to try and draw the pigeons away from that, we've in the cover crop, which didn't do particularly well this year, and plus it's never even been shot either. They flailed half of it and kept some back, and then spread a load of knackered wheat all over it in an attempt to try and draw the pigeons onto that. And it's kind of semi-working, semi isn't, and they're now not paying any attention, of course, to the gas guns. So there may be a preventative shoot that happens on Tuesday, and if I do, and if I am invited to that, as I believe I will be, then I will probably film that and share that with you guys soon. What got me started in shooting? Yeah, I think I mentioned earlier, I'll probably talk about that. Right, it's a fairly long story, but I'll cut it right down. What got me started into shooting? I think most of my friends, and maybe a lot of you guys, started shooting because your dad went shooting or your grandfather went shooting. I never had any of that. So in my household, predominantly from a fairly early age, I was brought up by a single parent, which was my mother bringing up 3 kids. And we didn't have a lot of money. I went out and got myself a paper round when I was 12, and at the age of 13 I started working in a kitchen in a local pub. And at that time the chef had an air rifle, and during the after the dinner rush but before the evening shift, because we would stay there because it was in the middle of nowhere, we would take this air rifle and go and shoot rats out the back in the lean-to with an open-sighted air gun. I couldn't even tell you what air gun it was. When he got bored with it, weeks and weeks and weeks later, I offered to buy it off of him, and I can't even tell you how much I paid for it. And just as I would say to anyone getting started in shooting, especially the youngsters, I took that air gun home and hid it from my mum first and foremost, because if she knew I had it, she would have kicked me out, I think, because she had a real big affliction to guns, my mum. So I kept it in my fishing holdall because it's the one place I knew that she would never look. And whenever she went off to work, and I was at home, I would get this air gun out and I would shoot out the bedroom window at playing cards. I'd put them in a tree at the bottom of the garden, and from memory, it was 50 yards. No, it wasn't. It was probably about 25 yards. But I became really proficient at hitting the tiniest little markers. You know, I could hit twigs with this open-sighted air gun. And that's really what kick-started my interest in shooting. Ever since then, you know, I've had a real keen interest in shooting and practice and practice and practice. I've even been out tonight before this and put a few rounds down range before I go out foxing later on. You can never get enough practice, you know. So I moved on then from air guns, of course, as lots of people did as I became older, and of course got a job and started earning money. I was able to afford to apply for a shotgun license, got a shotgun. Went pigeon shooting on permissions that I was able to go air rifle shooting and shotgun shooting on, so I was quite fortunate in that respect. And then about 20 years ago, one of my best mates came round to my flat. He came with another friend, so I didn't know him at the time. He said, "Oh, do you mind if I bring my mate with me?" He came round and he noticed my gun in the corner of the room, leant up, and he said, "Oh, what's in the case?" And I said, "Oh, that's my air rifle, I've just bought it." He said, "Oh, do you mind if I have a look?" So we got it out, had a look at it, and he said, "Oh, I used to shoot on a pig farm near here," and this is in Norfolk now, next county over. He said, "I used to shoot on a pig farm." He said, "I've not been for ages." He said, "We should go one night." I was like, okay. Having never shot rats at night time before, I really didn't know what to expect. And I started with a BSA Lightning, which was a cracking little break barrel gun, and I had a torch taped to the top of my air rifle, to the air rifle scope. I had no sticks, single shot. And do you know what? Of an evening, we would shoot. It would not be uncommon to shoot between 50 and 80 rats. And that's how I got started, so yeah, I've shot since the age of 13, and I'm actually 40 this year. So 3rd of August, put this in your diaries, 3rd of August this year, I'm 40 years old, and I know I look good. Right, so yeah, that's how I got started in shooting, and the rest, as they say, is history. So, High Tone Michael, hello from Ireland, how are you doing? You already got more live views than English shooting. English shooting, I think he stopped, didn't he? He packed up. Yeah. Before I started my own YouTube channel, I used to watch English shooting. I really liked his videos, so it's a real shame when he quit. Any good advice for someone who is just starting the YouTube galaxy? I want to get a channel going and like the input from us professionals. I don't know about professionals. I was lucky, I think. I had a few good videos, some rat videos. My best video to date clicked over 3.8 million views. So I think I've done a couple of good videos, maybe, and a few of them got picked up in America. And a lot of traffic came from the States, so a lot of traffic came stateside. So, any advice? I've got some advice for you. In fact, Dwayne at the Wash Wildfowlers Field Sports channel, we actually had a meeting because he's pretty local to me. We had a meeting, and Dwayne wanted to really. It uploaded some previous videos, and I hope he won't mind me kind of explaining what we've done. But he uploaded some previous videos off of his phone. And the trouble with uploading and editing off of a phone is it's pretty low resolution, and you haven't got that many tools and stuff. So Dwayne he'd been saving up, been a good boy as well at Christmas. And he'd been saving up, and he spent a few quid. So my advice is don't buy the cheapest equipment. I know this lavalier mic was cheap, but don't buy the cheapest equipment. Get yourself a decent tool to edit it on. So the MacBook Pro, I think, is probably one of the best tools you can have. Really, and then a good quality phone. If you have those two things, you can pretty much make some pretty good YouTube content without the need then to spend much more. One of the other things that you need for a shooting channel, I suppose, and I believe it's the scope cam footage. It's putting the viewer in the hunter's position, so you guys can see what I see, and when I'm looking through the scope and stuff. I think that's what makes good content, along with some of the other stuff. A twist of humour. I try and put a twist of humour into my videos. You may have noticed, and engaging content. The other thing I've done with my channel is I've tried to make it different. I've tried my best anyway to vary the content. It's all well and good shooting rats, but sometimes one rat shooting video is very much the same as the next. And if it's just scope cam footage, to me it gets a little tedious. I like to see shots of the shooter, and I like to see the environment, and I like to see the before and the after, and I like to see the kit that's being used. So consider all of those things if you're making a video, rather than just making it shot after shot after shot after shot after shot, because in my opinion that gets a little tedious, and I think that's where people would probably switch off. That's I used to get told off for that at work. I used to have to give briefings to loads of people at work, and I was always going Can I shoot a crow from a kilometre? Probably not. I know a man who can though. I'm sure. Hello from Croatia. Hello. This never fails to amaze me. The reach of YouTube is huge. You know, when I look at the analytics of some of the videos, you know, and I look at some of they're literally every corner of the world watches YouTube, and it's pretty impressive to see where your audience is coming from. So, which is the best subsonic 2.2? Are we talking about rounds? Because I've tried a lot of ammo now through my 2.2, and as some of you may know, I've recently switched over to the Ely Match ammo. Oh, that's brilliant. That's bullet on bullet, even through a semi-auto rifle. Do you look around fields before you go foxing, so you know about backstops, etc.? Great question. Yeah, I'll tell you what I do. So, if it's a brand new, I mean, I know my usual shooting ground, I know it like the back of my hand. I go around it all the time, both in the daytime and night time, so I know it intimately. If I get new ground, so it's not uncommon for me to get a Facebook message or a text message from somebody that knows somebody that I may have shot foxes for in the past. So what happens is I always get an aerial view. Okay, so I get an aerial view of the land, so I can see exactly how far things are in all directions. Now, again, in my county, it's pretty flat, so I think this is really imperative. But even in counties that aren't flat, if you've got some new ground, I would urge you to have a look on Google Maps just to get a good idea of what's behind and what's, you know, if you can't see behind that hedge or you can't see behind that obstacle, Google Maps is going to give you a good indication of whether or not it's in a direct line of sight of buildings, houses, farms, etc., etc. So have a look at that. Understand where the boundaries are, of course, because you cannot exceed the boundaries with a firearm. The penalties for that are pretty severe, so never get caught on a land that you shouldn't be on with a firearm, certainly. So that's what I would do. Have a good look around, and then nearly always, where possible, have a look around, certainly in the daytime, on foot. Walk the perimeter of it, and also just have a look and see where, if you're foxing in particular. Again, there was a video I did recently where it was a land, it's not far from here, and I shoot the land that neighbours it, but still I'd never been to this particular guy's property before, so I went there during the daytime to have a look to see where I would stand, what would I stand against, where would I anticipate the fox to come from, and which, you know, what direction is the wind coming from. All of those types of things you need to consider. So yeah, absolutely, get yourself over in the daytime, have a look on Google Earth, walk the perimeter of it. Would be my top tips for going somewhere new for shooting, especially with foxing. Ratting and certainly using air rifles, you probably don't need to be quite as anal as that, but then at the same time, it never, you know, it can't really pay to be too cautious, can it? Do you use traps for foxes? We catch 30% with cages. Yeah, not me personally, but certainly the gamekeepers that I work very closely with, we do. Yeah, and in fact, I've done a video before on, I think I titled it Alternative Foxing Methods or something like that. It was a couple of years ago I did that video, but in that video I covered off the multitude of different ways in which we control the foxes on the land. Speaking of which, how much land do I cover? A lot. Yeah, I've been very, very fortunate. So immediately on the doorstep, there's about 12,000 acres for the gamekeeper, the main gamekeeper. An underkeeper, one of my best mates, who I shoot for a similar amount, so probably another 12. I would suggest all in it's probably in excess of around 30,000 acres. So yeah, I'm quite fortunate that way. And then, of course, again, if you follow Instagram and stuff, you'll know I played farmer for a few weeks during a potato harvest last year, and I now shoot that farm as well, which I think is another 1,000 acres, so just a baby one. Boom, boom, boom. Thank you very much for adding me into Pontypool is a cracking, guys, I love this channel. Pontypool Pest Control. Some of the best footage I've seen and I'll tell you what, videos that never fail to make me laugh. So if you haven't already, please get over and subscribe to Pontypool Pest Control. Absolutely love your content, mate. I think it's absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. Here's a good question. Do you think Facebook will eventually close all the shooting pages on its platform? Thank you. I'll try and keep the videos coming. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think we're in a world at the moment where this snowflake generation really gets on my tits. You can't say boo to a frigging goose nowadays without. You can't say boo to a goose. You know, you get in trouble, don't you, for having an opinion. Your opinion can offend someone these days. Yeah, I'm offended by that. Well, so what? You know, that's your problem. Deal with it. Yeah, I do unfortunately think. And I think in the grand scheme of things, I'm even a little concerned I'm a little concerned for the future of shooting. You know, I can just see game shooting probably being the first target. You know, pest control probably not so much, but certainly game shooting and grouse shooting, I think it's been fairly well publicised, the amount of pressure and certainly attempts that have been in recent times to try and get that sort of stuff shut down. So yeah, I am, and I do think Facebook will bow to pressure and probably end up closing lots of the groups down as well, which will be a real shame because you know, for people like us who enjoy getting out in the countryside and enjoy sharing ideas, enjoy sharing best practices. You know, when I started foxing, Facebook groups were in their very early days, and it was pretty much a no-holds-barred affair. You could say what you want. You could even trade with guns and ammo and scopes and all sorts of stuff. You know, and slowly but surely we've been kind of chopped back, haven't we? You know, and it's just become more and more restricted, and your hands have been tied, you know, tighter and tighter and tighter. So yeah, I am a little concerned for it, but I guess it is what it is. You know, there are other platforms. I know that. I know you keep hearing people saying we've started groups on MeWe and stuff like that. But they're just not as fluent and as intuitive. So we will see. Hi mate, are you still topping up your squirrel feeders in lockdown? We are, but just 2 feeders to keep them honest. Yeah, I do essentially. So because I have in 2 of the woods that I've been shooting squirrels in, the farm is actively involved in songbird breeding programs, and it's had to dedicate certain habitats and work to keep wildlife in, and I'm sure they probably got a grant for it as well. So I've been asked if I can help maintain and manage those particular areas. So yeah, I've got a very good reason, you know, for going out to those feeders and keeping them topped up as well. Plus, this is now my only job, effectively. So I'm self-employed as a filmmaker. So, and I can't make films. I can't make all of my films sat at home. Hey Gabrielle. There's some good banter coming through, but I think it's banter anyway. Ooh. Now here's a contentious question: air rifles, 177 or 22? I've got a fairly strong opinion on this, and if you've been around, if you've been watching for a while, I've been into air rifle shooting since the age of 13, and I mean I have shot 177, but my absolute preferred choice is 22 caliber. I don't think you can argue with science is my stance on this, and that is that you have so much more inertia and you dump so much more energy into the target. Yeah, so a 22 round-headed pellet, I believe to be the most effective combination. The JSB exact pellet and the Air Arms Diablo pellets in any 22 air rifle are pretty damn lethal. So that's that. 177. The reason that, so again, I've used one several times on rats and rabbits. With the rats, the pellet was travelling so fast and it was so small. It was, you have to get them in the head. With a 2-2, they are more forgiving. If you get it in the neck or in the heart and lung region, it's going down. It's not going to run that far. So you know, whereas I used the 177 and it was penetrating, going straight through and just not doing enough damage. So you may argue that that's probably down to my shooting, and you're probably right. So hi Mark Sharp, how are you doing? I hope you are well. Corral, yeah, someone's asking. Ian asked, is thinking of getting a corral. Yeah, I've looked at those as well. They do look good. I need to hold one, and I probably need to have a go with one before I make my informed choice. But yeah. Gabrielle, what do you think of Edgun Leshy? Love it. Yeah, I did a video a long time ago now, it seems. I think it was actually just after I had my back surgery, because I couldn't get out and do any filming. So I actually made a video at home of some of my favourite YouTube channels. And Edgun Leshy at the time, who's now surpassed this channel, was probably only on about 25,000 subscribers, something like that. But he's gone, I think, over 70,000 subscribers now. I love his content. Yeah, could be tweaked. Yeah, but hey, couldn't we all? You know, for me, sometimes the intros are a little too lengthy. But certainly the camera angles the guy's got now, you know, and again, it's a channel that's really evolved. So yeah, I quite like Edgun's stuff. Yeah, big fan of that channel. Ryback. Yes, my videos were running. Yeah, I used to put my videos on the computers at work, and then I got bollocked for it, so I stopped doing that. That's not why I ended up getting made redundant, by the way. What's the biggest rat I've ever shot? I've got a photo somewhere. I'll include it in an up and coming video if you like, if I remember. But I've got a picture of me with a dustpan, a dustpan, and the rat fills the entire pan. So you can see my hand in shot, and I don't have particularly big hands, I know. Little girly hands, but the rat filled this pan. It was an absolute clonker of a rat, real big one. So right, we'll probably get into. I mean, I've said it would probably take half an hour, but we are already on now 50 odd minutes. So I'll probably wrap this up in an hour. So I'll go in for a few more questions before I say my farewells. Ponty Paul, thank you very much. Yeah, no problem, mate. You're most welcome. Why the silence on the PARD 008 and RF versus ATN? Silence. There's no silence on it. I think the ATN is a better product. I mean, it should be. It's more money. You know, I'm a big believer in you get what you pay for. So with the ATN 4K Pro scopes, I do think the image is better. The eyepiece view is better, and there's a lot more information available. The PARD feels cheaper, and the audio quality is not as good. It's not brilliant on either of them, to be fair. The ATN's a little bit tinny, but at the very least, you can pick up the audio from yourself very well. Excuse me, bloody drink, and your surroundings as well. So I think the audio is a lot better on the ATN scope. The PARD, it hangs too far back, whereas the ATN scope is much more of a conventional shape. So yeah, in my opinion, they're not in the same league. The ATN is in a different league to the PARD. The PARD 008 is still a cracking tool, don't get me wrong, it has its place. And it's very popular. You see loads of YouTubers using them, and lots of shooters having great success with them. But having used both personally, and look, I bought the ATN with my own money. That's why I went down the ATN route. And touch wood, as of yet, I haven't had any problems with it. I did take the ATN Mars 4 scope out and did have some issues with that, but I've run an update on that today, so I'm hoping that has fixed that. But hopefully that answers that question. Nice comment there from Russ. Thank you very much, mate. What was my longest successful shot? On what? On a fox? My longest shot on a fox is 240 something, 243 I think it is. I didn't have a laser rangefinder with me at the time, but both myself and the keeper, so it's witnessed, paced it out, and it was 243 shots. My longest ever kill shot is 320 yards. That was on a rabbit. That was just to see if it could be done, and that was the second shot. And I shot it with a 223, and there wasn't much left of the rabbit afterwards, so that one got put on the bait station. What else have we got? We've got time for a few more questions, guys. Here's a good question. What entry-level thermal scope spotter can I recommend? And that's from Dave at South Bank Pest Control. Entry-level thermal scope. There's a... I would really like to have a look through the new iRay scopes, because they look, again, like a conventional scope, 30mm tube. I've looked through the Pulsar, and of course I've looked through the ATN, and I think in the eyepiece certainly, so then this is the important image really, because it's the thing you're looking at, the ATN has the edge on it, and that is genuinely 100% not saying that because they've sent me one to try. I just think, again, the eyepiece edge on that. But so I'd be really interested to look through an iRay one, but I believe that would probably be the cheapest, because that iRay stuff, much like the Hike or HIK, HIK thermal stuff, that's also pretty damn reasonably priced. They did reach out to me actually at Christmas and asked if I would like to try some of their kit. And I don't know whether because of the new lockdown and stuff that they've just not got back to me, or whether they've just found somebody better, probably. So I'm kind of hoping to get a play with some of that sort of stuff as well. And look, we probably all would have been able to have had a play with this stuff at a shooting show as well. It's really unfortunate that it's been cancelled, but clearly I think we all understand why that's happened. So let's all hope and pray, if that's what how you if you believe in that sort of stuff, then let's all just hope and pray that next year we can actually get to a show. Then we can probably meet up in person, and you'll be able to get to try all of the kit kind of you want as well. So yeah, in terms of a spotter, I don't think you can beat the Pulsar Accolade. That's just another level, and I've looked through a lot of different spotters and stuff as well, but yeah, by far and away the Pulsar Accolade's the best cheap one probably so far that I've looked through, again, is the iRay, the E3 Max I think it is. That's the best reasonably priced spotter that I've looked through to date. And again, the Hike Vision, they've got some new kit out. It's that time of year. Usually, or lots of the manufacturers would launch their new kit at the shooting show in February. But of course, that's not happening either. So there we go. So we'll probably see some new launches. There's a load of other people. I mean, Zeiss have launched them, haven't they? Everyone's jumping on the bandwagon now. Clearly thermal is the future. And it's also the very hot potato at the moment. It's become more affordable. I originally purchased my Pulsar Accolade, which I've had for over a year now, but I bought them on an interest-free deal. So, there's lots of that sort of stuff out there. So, take advantage of it. What times do I shoot rats? Any time's a good time to shoot rats. I think it's more productive just after dark. That's my personal opinion. They tend to come out and feed, pretty quickly. Let's have a look for some more. Hi from Switzerland. Brilliant. Hello, Diego. Oh, I've just seen Nigel. Hi Nigel. You're going out. Oh, well, good luck. Best of luck with that. Right. What time is it now? Right, we're pretty much bang on the hour, guys. So I'm going to do two more questions, and then I will wrap it up. So let me have a look at my. I didn't even do my bloody sheet, did I? I just got straight into it. Common questions. How have I got started? Covered that off. Air rifles 17722. Covered that off. How do you shoot? Okay. I think pretty much we've covered that off. I'm in the middle of editing a video at the moment, which is some pretty cool foxing action that I've had and some of the Team Foxing members have had for the last few weeks or even months. And prior to the video, so in the entry to the video, I've also got my top tips for shooting off of sticks. I've been shooting off of a tripod stick system in one way or another now for a few years, and I've just picked out 3 or 4 top tips for shooting off sticks, because again, this is something that pops up quite often and I get asked. So I'm going to be putting a video together, and that should be up next week. So I will take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for standing, sitting, or joining in. Anyway, thank you very much for your questions. Once I close the live video down, I'll have the ability to be able to go back into the video and answer some of the questions. That will be done over the next day or two, because after this video, I'm going out foxing. So fingers crossed. I'm able to catch up with a couple of problem foxes that we've had locally. I hope everybody stays safe where they can. If you're out shooting, enjoy yourselves. Thank you very much again for supporting the channel. Let me know in the comments below how you think the live stream went, good, bad and the ugly. I'll try and be a little bit more organised next time, and what I'll also do is probably get some additional kit so I can use the camcorder, so I can have a bit more access to the live informations and so on and so forth as well. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, stay safe, and as always, happy shooting.